Welcome to lesson 056 of Online School of Entrepreneurship. I am Dr. Kirian Mfam. In today's lecture, we will dwell on entrepreneurship education. Upon completion of this lecture, our audience will be able to 1. Explain the concept of entrepreneurship education. 2. Discuss the objectives of entrepreneurship education. And 3. Differentiate among enterprise education, entrepreneurship education, and entrepreneurial education. Overview of entrepreneurship education. The two most frequent terms used in entrepreneurship in education are enterprise education and entrepreneurship education. So most times when people discuss entrepreneurship in education, they either use the term enterprise education or entrepreneurship education. The term enterprise education and entrepreneurship education have different meanings as it concerns to the study of entrepreneurship in education. Enterprise education is primarily used in the United Kingdom and has been defined as focusing more broadly on personal development, mindset, skills, and abilities. What this means is that the focus of enterprise education is on the entrepreneurial person in terms of the personal development of the entrepreneur, the mindset of the entrepreneur, the skills and abilities of the entrepreneur. Whereas the term entrepreneurship education has been defined to focus more on the specific context of setting up a venture and becoming self-employed. Therefore, the thin line that separates enterprise education as a concept in entrepreneurship education and entrepreneurship education is the fact that while enterprise education focuses on the entrepreneurial person in terms of the competencies, the personality traits of the entrepreneur, the mindset of the entrepreneur, the skills, the abilities, the attitudes, and the behavior of an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship education focuses on the specific context of the ability of the entrepreneurial person or the entrepreneur to set up or establish a business venture with the motive of becoming self-employed. In the United States, the only term used in describing entrepreneurship in education is entrepreneurship education. Some researchers use the long term enterprise and entrepreneurship education, perhaps to combine the two critical elements of the entrepreneurial person as well as the ability of an entrepreneur to establish and manage a business, which is the entrepreneurial opportunities. Therefore, some researchers and authorities deem it necessary for the sake of confidence to combine enterprise education and entrepreneurship education by calling it enterprise and entrepreneurship education. Sometimes enterprise and entrepreneurship education is discussed by using the term entrepreneurship education only. This is for those that have an understanding that entrepreneurship in education has two critical components. First, the entrepreneurial person that deals with the personal development of the entrepreneur, his or her mindset, abilities, attitude, behaviors. And the second component, which is the entrepreneurial opportunities, which has to do with the ability to create a business venture and manage it with a quest to becoming self-employed. Ekila in 2000 had proposed a unifying term to marry enterprise education and entrepreneurship education and called the term entrepreneurial education. Being entrepreneurial can mean many things to many people. Excuse me. A common conception, according to Gardner, 1990, is that entrepreneurship is about entrepreneurial individuals creating innovative organizations that grow and create value, either for the purpose of profit or not. What Ghana is saying is that the focus of entrepreneurship is the ability of an individual who is now an entrepreneur to create innovative organizations that will grow and create value, either for the purpose of profit or not. So, going by Ghana's definition, entrepreneurship only centers on the ability of a person to create innovative organizations that will grow and create value. But entrepreneurship does not have to include the creation of new organizations. It can also occur in existing organizations. Now, this brings us to another dimension of entrepreneurship education, or entrepreneurship as a concept. Because when we have entrepreneurship, we also have entrepreneurship. Following Ghana's definition of entrepreneurship, the focus is on entrepreneurship. But another dimension is that within an organization which is founded by an entrepreneur, we can also have what we call intrapreneurship. And this is what most scholars describe as entrepreneurship in entrepreneurship. For example, if you are in an organization, a business venture, and within the confines of that organization, you begin to initiate business ideas that will bring more income into that organization. Being a staff of that organization, you are an entrepreneur. That means you are performing the functions of an entrepreneur within the context of entrepreneurship. Therefore, in looking at entrepreneurship, we must not look at the component of being able to create a venture and grow it, but we must also look at the dimension of staying inside the organization as an employee of an organization to do entrepreneurial activities, and that introduces us to the concept of intrapreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not only limited to the entrepreneurial individual, but also to entrepreneurial opportunities and the relation between the individual and the opportunity. We have discussed this before, that entrepreneurship in education, or what Eric La described as entrepreneurial education, is made of two components. First, the entrepreneurial person, and two, the entrepreneurial opportunities. And now we are saying that we must not limit entrepreneurial studies to enterprise education, which is the entrepreneurial person. But we must also look at the entrepreneurial opportunities, which is the ability to create a business venture, manage it, and nurture it to growth. Stevenson and Jarillo in 1990 defined entrepreneurship as a process by which individuals, either on their own or inside organizations, pursue opportunities without regard to the resources they currently control. Now, what are the objectives of entrepreneurship education? The objectives of entrepreneurship education for undergraduate programs in Nigerian universities include the following. That is to say, we want to look at why the federal government of Nigeria, through the National Universities Commission, introduced entrepreneurship education in the university system and made it compulsory for all students of the university to study entrepreneurship education. Now, the objectives are as follows. 1. To develop entrepreneurship spirit among the new generation of students with the hope of creating new or greater social and economic value to the society. The first objective here is saying that by teaching students entrepreneurship in the university system, that it will engender in them the spirit of enterprise, the spirit of doing something for survival, so that upon leaving school, they will be able to have a place that they can kick off as self-employed people. 2, to nurture entrepreneurship knowledge among students through entrepreneurship studies and education. That is, to expose students to the rudiments of entrepreneurship so that they will be properly prepared to be self-employed upon leaving school. 3. To provide students with the required skill to developing viable enterprises that are capable of competing in the global environment. This third objective is geared towards giving students the skills to become entrepreneurs, so that they will be able to be prepared or armed with the knowledge and skills to begin to develop and establish business ventures that will add economic value to the society. 4. To enable students identify and exploit opportunities locally and globally. Now, this objective is saying that through entrepreneurship studies, students will be able to expose to the rudiments of exploiting business opportunities within their immediate environment, so that they can turn these opportunities to business ventures. 5. To equip students with tools to grow new and existing ventures, thereby regenerating economic growth and development. Again, one of the objectives is to equip students with the necessary tools of entrepreneurial action, so that they are able to use these tools to create businesses that will add economic value. 6. To stimulate students' interest in fostering productive culture in the larger society through teaching, advisory, and consultancy services, mentoring, and active engagements. What this point is saying is that through the study of entrepreneurship in the university system, and of course other tertiary institutions, the students will be built or given the spirit to produce. They will be taught the spirit to produce. They will imbibe the spirit of production, so that instead of being more of consumers, they will be more of producers. 7. To equip students with analytical skills in problem solving, negotiations, conflict resolution, marketing, leadership, interpersonal relations, and financial management. Again, through the study of entrepreneurship in the university system and other tertiary institutions, our students will be given the skills to identify problems, to analyze problems, to negotiate, to resolve conflict, to market their business ventures, to provide leadership, and to engage in productive interpersonal relations as well as financial management. 8. To develop in students the desire to excel and live a meaningful life through self-discovery. Now, what this means is that through entrepreneurship education, our students are given the opportunity to discover themselves, to unleash the potentials embedded in them, so that they will be able to create value and promote economic development in the society. 9. To instill in students the need for independent thinking, economic freedom, and respect for talent. This is also very critical, because through entrepreneurship studies in the university and other tertiary institutions, students are instilled the value for independent thinking, for economic freedom, and for respect for talent. Again, through entrepreneurship education, students are given the knowledge that is required for them to discover themselves, so that they can liberate themselves from economic slavery by being self-employed instead of working for people. And 10, to prepare graduates for higher studies in the field of entrepreneurship. So what the study of entrepreneurship program in the undergraduate programs of university does is that it also prepares students to further their studies in the areas of entrepreneurship, so that they can deepen their knowledge and scholastic prowess when it comes to entrepreneurship. In the course of this lecture, and in line with our instructional objectives, we were able to 1. Explain the concept of entrepreneurship education. 2. Discuss the objectives of entrepreneurship education. And 3. Differentiate among enterprise education, entrepreneurship education, and entrepreneurial education. Please support us by 1. Following us on our Facebook page, Online School of Entrepreneurship. 2. Subscribing to our YouTube channel, Entrepreneurship Teacher. And 3. Liking, commenting, and sharing our posts. Thank you, and see you in our next lecture.